On a stormy night, shrouded in mystery, the village of Montebello was painted with eerie shadows and flickers of intermittent moonlight. The cobblestone streets gleamed under the glow of street lamps, while the thunder rolled in the distance, announcing the approach of an impending storm. Amidst the gloomy weather, a lone figure weaved its way through the alleys, its fur gleaming as wet as the stone streets underfoot. It was a cat, sleek and mottled, its fur shiny like polished stone, and its eyes as green as emeralds. This was no ordinary cat. His name was Caesar, and on that night, he sought not only refuge from the storm, but carried with him a secret story, waiting to be unveiled. The Church of San Francisco stood at the heart of the village. Its towering spires reached for the heavens, casting long shadows over the village square. The grand, heavy wooden doors were closed to the world outside, but a small crack was left open, perhaps a sign or mere happenstance. Inside, Father Bento, a man of unwavering faith, spent his nights in prayer. The church was his sanctuary, a place where the silence was thick with spirituality and the soft light of candles offered solace. As the rain began to fall in earnest, Caesar, driven by an unseen force, slipped through the door's narrow opening and made his way inside. Father Bento, who was deep in contemplation, was startled by the soft patter of paws on the cold stone floor. He turned, his gaze falling upon the mysterious cat that had wandered into his sacred space. At first, his instinct was to chase the animal away, but something in the cat's eyes stopped him. There was a deep wisdom in those green eyes, an intelligence that belied the creature's simple appearance. The cat's presence unsettled him, yet at the same time, a quiet peace settled over the church. "Who are you, little one, and what brings you here?" Father Bento asked in a soft voice, inching closer. Caesar did not respond, of course, but his posture seemed relaxed, his emerald eyes watching the priest with an intensity that made it seem as if he understood every word. As the storm outside raged on, Father Bento decided to allow the cat to stay. He prepared a bed from an old, unused cloth and placed it beside his own in the small room behind the altar. He whispered a quick prayer to Saint Francis, the protector of animals, asking for guidance. "May you bless this little traveler," he murmured, casting a final glance at Caesar, who had already curled up into the makeshift bed. The storm continued to batter the village of Montebello through the night, but inside the Church of San Francisco, peace reigned. Caesar slept soundly, and Father Bento found a strange comfort in the cat's presence. It felt as if the animal had been sent to him for a purpose beyond his understanding. When morning came and the sun finally broke through the clouds, the villagers trickled into the church for Mass. Word of the strange cat had already spread, and soon, Caesar became a source of fascination. Some saw him as a simple stray seeking warmth and shelter, while others believed his arrival held deeper meaning. Whispers of superstition rippled through the congregation, with some even speculating that Caesar was a divine messenger sent to guide them. "Perhaps he's a sign," one woman said, her voice filled with wonder as she watched the cat stroll down the aisle with an air of grace. "A sign of what?" her friend replied skeptically, though she, too, couldn't take her eyes off the animal. Father Bento, however, saw Caesar not as a symbol of superstition, but as a living being in need of care. The bond between the priest and the cat grew each day, and soon, Caesar became a constant presence in the church. Yet, as much as Father Bento cherished the companionship, a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that Caesar's arrival carried a deeper significance. As days turned to weeks, an intriguing pattern began to emerge. Every night, after the church was emptied and the candles were blown out, Caesar would make his way to the foot of the statue of Mary, the mother of Jesus, that stood at the front of the church. He would sit there, motionless, his eyes locked on the statue as if drawn to it by some unseen force. Then, with a soft sigh, he would curl up at her feet and fall asleep. The behavior was so consistent, so deliberate, that Father Bento couldn't ignore it. One evening, after the last parishioner had left, Father Bento sat in silence, watching Caesar as he made his nightly pilgrimage to the statue. The priest's curiosity was piqued. Why did Caesar choose this particular spot, night after night? There seemed to be an unspoken connection between the cat and the statue of Mary. Father Bento resolved to find out more. Digging through old parish records and speaking to the older villagers, Father Bento learned of a woman named Maria, a devout follower of the church who had once been a regular at the masses. She had been known for her unwavering faith and her deep love for animals. Maria had passed away years ago, and with her death, the village had all but forgotten her. But now, it seemed as though her spirit lingered, and perhaps Caesar had been sent to remind them of her devotion. During a Sunday Mass, something extraordinary happened. As Father Bento prepared the congregation for the holiest part of the ceremony, Caesar leaped onto the altar. The church fell into a hushed silence as the cat, with eyes glowing in the candlelight, began to mew softly, his gaze fixed on the statue of Mary. There was something almost reverent in the way Caesar stared at the statue, and the congregation watched in awe as the cat seemed to beckon Father Bento closer. With his heart pounding, Father Bento approached the statue. Following Caesar's gaze, he knelt at the base of the statue and noticed something he had never seen before, a small hidden compartment. Trembling with anticipation, Father Bento opened it. Inside was an ancient rosary, delicate and worn with time, and a faded letter written by Maria herself. In the letter, she spoke of a relic, long lost and hidden within the church, that held great significance for the community. The discovery sent shockwaves through Montebello. The congregation was in awe, and whispers of a miracle spread through the village. Caesar's actions were no longer seen as random. He had been sent as a guide, leading them to uncover a piece of their history that had been forgotten for generations. Father Bento held up the rosary for all to see, his voice shaking with emotion as he addressed the congregation. This cat, sent to us by Mary herself, has brought more than his presence to our church. He has brought us a message of faith, a reminder of the connections that bind us to one another and to the divine. In the days that followed, Caesar became a symbol of hope for Montebello. People from neighboring villages came to see the cat that had uncovered a relic, and the story of Caesar's mysterious arrival and the divine message he carried spread far and wide. Father Bento, though humbled by the attention, reminded everyone that the true message was one of unity and faith. As the village celebrated the discovery, Father Bento and Caesar's bond deepened. The priest saw in the cat not just an animal but a spiritual companion, sent to guide him and the people of Montebello. The village, once quiet and unremarkable, now buzzed with new life and energy, as the discovery of the relic brought renewed faith and a sense of purpose to the community. To honor both Caesar and Maria, the village held a special ceremony. The church was packed, the air thick with anticipation. As the villagers gathered, Father Bento stood at the front, Caesar sitting calmly at his feet. The cat, with a small rosary blessed by the priest draped around his neck, looked out at the crowd with his deep green eyes, seemingly aware of the role he had played in reviving the village's spirit. During the ceremony, Father Bento spoke about the power of faith, the importance of love, and the unexpected ways in which God's messages could be delivered. Caesar has taught us that faith is not bound by logic or reason. It is a gift that can be revealed in the most unlikely of places, even in the eyes of a simple cat. As the villagers sang hymns of praise, Caesar remained by Father Bento's side, a quiet guardian of the church, his presence a constant reminder of the mysteries that had unfolded in Montebello. The story of Caesar, the guardian cat, would be told for generations, a tale of faith, love, and the unbreakable connection between heaven and earth. The village of Montebello, once a forgotten place, had been transformed. The relic, discovered through the guidance of Caesar, became a symbol of hope, unity, and the enduring power of faith. Visitors from far and wide came to see the cat that had brought a miracle to the village, and each left with a renewed sense of wonder. But for Father Bento, The greatest miracle was not the relic itself, but the lessons Caesar had taught him. In the quiet moments, as the cat curled up at the foot of the statue of Mary, Father Bento reflected on the journey they had taken together. It was a journey of discovery, not just of an ancient relic, but of the boundless ways in which faith could manifest. And so, the legend of Caesar, the guardian cat of Montebello, lived on, a beacon of light for all who sought meaning, connection, and the divine presence in the everyday. In the eyes of a cat, the village had found its faith, and in doing so, they had found each other.